At that time, I was lying on the side of the road. They called one of the doctor, who is physiotherapist, and he suggested to do some exercises and check what is the exact issue. And literally, he said to Virat that he won't be able to finish. You both just keep riding because the time is really less. But they both didn't give up. Tried to push me. I tried to ride with just one leg and try to push it another leg if I can. And then they, at some point, they pulled my bicycle or they pushed me from behind. This last 100 kilometers were really, really difficult. On top of that, with just 26 kilometers to go, I had a puncture in my mountain bike.
I am Venki, a working professional in IT as well as an amateur masters athlete and a coach for endurance sports. You are listening to the Working Athlete Podcast. Here, I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, I have a small request from you. Please subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. You can also let me know what you like and what you would like to listen to more of by commenting in the comment section on YouTube. I promise to do my best to improve with each episode and bring you the best content that helps you and me get better each day. In this episode, I talked to Kishan. Kishan is an ultra cyclist from Gujarat who has completed the 4000 kilometer Transcontinental Race and 1200 kilometer Paris Brest Paris in the same month in 2023. He has done many challenging ultra rides over the years but had to scratch at the Via race in Spain last month due to ill health. In this episode, he shares his journey in the ultra cycling and the lessons he learned along the way. It was fascinating hearing his stories from events like the Transcontinental Race and PBP, and many of them just show how resilient one has to be to complete such challenging rides. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. This episode is brought to you by The Bike Affair. If you are in search of a one-stop destination that caters to all your cycling needs, our today's sponsor, The Bike Affair, is the perfect place to check out. I have known the founders of The Bike Affair, Krish and Gokul, personally for nearly 15 years now. In fact, my first century ride was with Krish back in 2008. They are both exceptional human beings and entrepreneurs that believe in providing exceptional service to their customers. And it shows. With over 14 years of experience, the Bike Affair has established itself as a trusted source offering honest advice and exceptional service. They are offering a special treat for the listeners of this podcast. You can enjoy a 10% discount on your first order by using the code BikeyVenki on their website. So if you are in Hyderabad, visit their store in Kondapur, or if you are anywhere else in India, shop online by using the link thebikeaffair.com. I will leave the link in the show notes. Now, enjoy the podcast. Hi, Kishan. Welcome to the Working Athlete Podcast. It's a pleasure having you on the show.
Yeah, same here. Thank you for having me here.
Awesome. Uh, Kishan, the first time I kind of got to know about you or heard about you uh, was it like the year last year or the year before last PBP?
Yeah,
Um,
it was just last year. But
just last year,
yeah,
right? Last year PBP. Uh, I heard about a person who did that, transcontinental race,
yeah,
which is like a 4,000 kilometer race,
yeah,
uh, and and finished that, and then landed up at PBP.
yeah, correct.
And I was like, what? Uh, that felt like, you know, who is this crazy person is what I thought. And, here you are, um, obviously, crazy in the pursuits, but looks like a same person in in reality.
Yeah.
But that's when I kind of got to know about you a little bit, or heard about you. But I would like to use this opportunity to kind of learn a little bit more about your journey, uh, the how these insane pursuits kind of came about, and all this. Before we get into that, uh, I want to start with a something that, what was your relationship with sport growing up?
Uh, I think it was nothing much in terms of sports because I grew up very, you know, in traditional upbringing. So there was, I think so, no sport at all. So everything started just after my graduation. So yeah.
Okay, so where did you grow up?
So I grew up in a small town called Junagadh in Gujarat. So I did
Hmm.
my schooling in there. Then I settled for graduation in a city called Anand, again in Gujarat. And yeah, so that was my kind of upbringing.
Excellent, excellent. So, what was your after graduation? Or you said you didn't have any relationship with sport,
Yeah.
until after graduation. So, how did that start?
So after graduation, I started my job first here in Ahmedabad. And while that, I had a trip in Pune somewhere with my colleagues, and there were some this adventure sports people there who were doing rock climbing and rappelling and everything. So I inquired them, where have you guys trained about this? Because I got excited, seeing this thing, and I really wanted to do something related to that. And I do research a lot when I get any topic there. So I got a topic of mountaineering and started going in deep into it. I found out there are some institutes who do such trainings there, and I immediately applied for Himalayan Mountaineering Institute for the basic course there. So which was kind of 28 days of course. So without thinking even that I will get the leaves for that from my job or anything, I just applied it. And actually, at that time, there were 2 years of waiting period for such courses there. So these institutes are very prestigious. Even people from different nations come there to train and learn. And but I don't know. I was lucky, and I think someone dropped out of one of the course, and I got the place in just 2 months. And I just talked to my manager, and everything worked out. So the
Which
mountaineering,
year was this?
this was 2015. So kind of I
Right.
applied in 2015 and the course was in March 2016. And once I came out of those 28 days, I was kind of a different person because I learned uh, a lot of things out there, a different life in mountains, people there. I learned from them, and I wanted to do something in sports like patriotism or something where it triggers something in heart, right? So I the in that course itself, they teach you the bouldering and the speed climbing. Those are two sports really popular out there, uh, as in mountaineering. So speed climbing, I was really interested in, and then whatever the opportunity I got there while 28 days, I learned myself, and then I really wanted to pursue a lot in that. But then in Ahmedabad, I tried to find an institute or anything which really uh, uh, goes me beyond whatever I learned, but I couldn't find anything. So I picked up mountain biking out of nowhere, and did couple of races. Like there was an impossible race. That was my first race in Gujarat. So that was around 2017. So in December 2016, I bought my first mountain bike, and I did this first race in 2017 January. And yeah, I was having this mountain bike, and I was exploring what kind of events are there in around where I'm staying. And out of nowhere, I came to know about this Brevis, and yeah, it that was kind of a
Nice,
kickstart.
nice. Nice. Before we dive into the cycling,
Yeah,
right? I want to spend a little bit about on the mountaineering aspect.
yeah.
Before you chanced upon this mountaineering, and you got really interested into it. And but did you do any sorts of local treks or climbing, or also did you, once you have done the courses, did you kind of pursue any peaks or something like that?
Pursuing peaks, not really out of the course, but at the end
Mm.
of the course, you get a chance to, submit a peak with your team, whatever they build up. So that was the
Mhm.
only chance I got it. But other than that,
Right,
I was also doing a job, so it was like hard to get something out of it. Even
right.
I have, I was about to enroll for Mount Bhagirathi 2, at that time after doing the courses, but then this leave and all the things didn't work out. So
Yeah, I mean, like as a person working, that getting leave for that 28 days course or whatever, that itself is like a big
yeah,
thing,
right,
right?
yeah,
And and what all these expeditions will be like multiple week
right, yeah,
things.
yeah,
It won't be like a weekend affair or
yeah,
something, right?
right.
So that would become a challenge, I guess, with the work schedule. Excellent. So coming to the cycling, you got into the, mountain biking, the adventure race, and then heard about the brevets,
Yeah.
right? um, so why, what was, what about brevets interested you? What kind of drew you towards them?
Uh, I think the hard thing doing it is a hard ride, and I was just having a mountain bike at the time, so I was also doing previous on a mountain bike. And what I think or what I believe is like once you get an atmosphere about something, you really get encouraged, right? So here, if I say like at that time only the previous were popular, right? And the reason of not pursuing mountain biking further was the environment. Like I won't find any trails here within the range, like right, and that was the reason mountain biking just went away from the picture, and the previous come
Right,
into picture. So yeah,
right, right. It's similar thing, right? With mountaineering, you don't
yeah,
have any mountains in
right,
nearby,
yeah,
and it's the same scene
yeah,
with mountain biking. It's
right,
like you, if you want to pursue that, you got to have trails
yeah, exactly,
around, at least in the maybe 50-kilometer
yeah,
radius or something like that.
yeah,
You
right.
kind of have to. So that's interesting. So the once you got interested and got into brewers, which year was this? 2018.
No, 2017 itself. So
Okay.
March 2017 was, I think, the first payday.
Hmm.
With the
So.
mountain biking, I also tried with district levels, state levels competitions here.
Hmm.
But I would say I was not good that much that I would upgrade myself to national level. Definitely, it was just the start of my cycling, so I was not even that experienced. I was just enjoying what really brings the mountain biking. So yeah.
Right, right. Once you got into brevets, and like, what was the experience of your first brevet like?
First preview, I think, yeah, that was super, yeah, still it's super memorable, right? I mean, it was in Ahmedabad and a lot of people were there. It was 200 preview, right? And I did really super fast riding. Like, I mean, for 200, I averaged 27 kilometers with a mountain bike. And, uh, but yeah, at the end of the ride, I was just finished. So cramps in my legs and all the things because you don't, I mean, I was not knowing a lot of things about brevets. I was just knowing that this kind of events is there and you have to ride 200 kilometers. And with a lot of fast riders, I just went behind them and rode really fast. And but then I I realized that yeah, it's a hard thing and you should take it really easy based on your performance, etc. But yeah,
Yeah, 27 kmph on an MTB for a 200-kilometer ride. That's something, right? Great. So, what was this, initial year of your riding brevets like? What was the kind of progression in terms of um, distances that you have done, and what were the learnings from the first year of riding ultra distances or long distances?
yeah. So it was entirely kind of a learning stretch for me in terms of long distance. Like there are a lot of requirements in terms of equipments or even your clothing gears, etc. So I was just riding with this decathlon beep shorts, not even beep shorts, just the shorts which are meant to be ride just for 50 kilometers. And yeah, I did the 600 with that, and for I think last 50 kilometers I was not able to see it on my bum. So it was all the things, learnings were there, a lot of things. I really struggled to even finish all. So in just I think for 2017 I just rode five breves of all of them, like 200, 400, 300 and 600, and then and the December I think I also did 1,000. So, yeah, I just upgraded gradually with distance, but then again, I kept on learning on from the previous ride and then improving on the second ride. And also, these things are really expensive. I mean, everyone knows cycling is expensive, so upgrading the things are also, heavy on the pocket. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. So, what were the learnings? First year itself, you kind of went from 200 to 400, 600 to even 1,000, right?
Yeah.
So, initially you did not know pacing or
Yeah. All right.
anything. You just
Yeah.
kind of went all out
Yeah.
and were dead by the end of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But how was the experience of completing 1,000 kilometer against?
Yeah, I think so. The 1,000 kilometer I completed with my friend Viraj. Maybe if you know him, right? So Viraj and Kushali were there. So we really planned the entire ride. Like first 100 kilometers we go with this speed, and we'll take this much of stops, etc. We did a lot of planning there. It was a lot of improvement from 600, like how to hydrate, how to eat properly, how to take breaks, and listen to your body with sleeps, etc. So yeah, I mean that was the major learning about like how to know yourself and then take the action rather than just keep pushing yourself.
Right. Say, for example, someone listening to us here in the podcast wanted to understand how one could pace for a ride, massive ride like 1,000 kilometers, right?
Yeah.
How would you, what are the tips that you would give him?
Tips would be generally, first of all, know your own fitness, right? So in general training or in your normal ride, if you're riding 100 kilometers at like a pace of 28, I would say just go slower than that, or because it's a long game, right? It's just not a like a 50 kilometer, 100 kilometer ride. You are doing a 1,000 kilometer ride, and keep fueling for that. The pacing is definitely based on your fitness performance. So and you'll find a lot of riders going faster than you, but just don't get it away, because even I mean, if I say I'm experienced or I'm doing riding from last 6 years, even I do that mistake, right? There is a kind of adrenaline at the start of your any of the
Hmm.
events, and you just get it away and go faster in ride. So yeah, just keep calm. It's a long game. Yeah, you'll need a lot of energy later on.
Right. In terms of hydration and nutrition, how do you kind of and also it is not a one day kind of situation,
Yeah.
right? Like sleep breaks or rest breaks or and hydration and nutrition, how do you kind of advise them on those aspects?
Uh, I would say it is a personal choice. I won't like recommend any product or any any of the things, but uh, from like 2017 to here, I have changed a lot of things, experimented a lot of things, right? So I used to take hydration tablets and even salt tablets, etc. But right now I'm just I just rely on raw salt. That's it. So let's say in long ride, if you're riding in India, right? You'll get a lot of dabas there which have the salt there. So I just put either in, soft drink or something and just drink it with that. And that's it. Because other things caused me, stomach issues, etc. So I just avoid it in terms of that. Uh, yeah, right.
Yeah, excellent. So keeping it simple,
Yeah,
it's a process of elimination, right?
yeah,
What over a period of time,
yeah,
you would see what works for you and
yeah,
what doesn't,
right.
and you would keep, the things that are working,
Yeah,
and eliminate the stuff
yeah,
that doesn't work.
yeah, exactly.
And it is the same with like what you eat,
Yeah,
what you drink,
right.
what kind of pacing you
Yeah,
would do,
right,
and everything,
right,
right?
exactly.
Excellent. So now you this was 2017, you have kind of done till 1000 kilometers.
Yeah.
So from then, what was like what was your progression like from 2017 to 18, 19, and 20?
2017, I kind you can say a rookie and doing, experiencing everything for the first time, right? Like I rode till 1,000 kilometers, and then in 2018 was totally kind of, upward progression where I got the heart rate monitor. I used to monitor or train myself accordingly, right? And then I also got kind of a home trainer with a power sensor there. So I also started power-based training. So a lot of that inspiration come from Bayam Tripathi. We really call him Guru. So yeah, and so that was a progression. I really started structured training myself, and so that was kind of upward progression, and I really saw them in my speeds, etc. I was still riding a mountain bike, so I was not fast in terms of that, but I can still like power numbers and all the things that were improving, and everything was kind of aligned towards one goal in 2019, which was again PBP, uh, where we are going to participate, right? And everything the entire 2018 was almost aligned to those. I used to train with my training partners Viraj and Prerak, who were really kind of till date are yeah, very much contributing to whatever the cycling journey I have. And yeah, 2019 was kind of, you can say, one of the big goal of PBP, and we were able to finish it. There were a lot of stories behind that, but I think, yeah.
Yeah, I mean those stories are what we are here for. So how was that experience? Did you kind of upgrade to, or I mean, get yourself a road bike by this time, and how did that go
No, I did PBP on mountain bike itself, the bike I
in
had. So
2019?
yeah, yeah, in 2019.
Okay,
So
what was that experience like?
it was crazy. I was super confident. Atmosphere was super, super, kind of welcoming. The people over there. Uh, and till half of the ride, we were kind of still in, awe that, oh wow, this is kind of, cycling, really a cycling. And yeah, everything was going really well. We were riding really well. But then the only issue I had was kind of a little bit of knee pain in my one of the leg, and which was the reason behind that was my seat post was totally went down, and that I was not knowing it. Maybe while assembling a bike or something, I maybe haven't uh, done clamped the proper the seat post, and it went down. And that pain went really worse in last 100 kilometers. Even I was not able to pedal with one leg, and that last 100 kilometers literally was time trial. And we are super lucky. I was super lucky there, right? So this is a really big ride of 1200 kilometers. Again, these are Viraj and Prerak. We all three prepared for this together. We went there together, and the only thing we had decided is we will not ride together. We'll only simply ride at our own pace because we are all three different riding styles, and we might it will be difficult to finish if we just stop for each other. So we
Right.
had decided to ride differently at our own, but luckily we were, meeting at different control points. And at when I was having this worst kind of situation of my leg, it was almost like 100 kilometers from the finish, and both of them were there. And at that time, I was lying on the side of the road. They called, here one of the doctor, who is physiotherapist, and he suggested to do some exercises and check what is the exact issue. And literally, he said to Virat that he won't be able to finish. You both just keep riding because the time is really less. But they both didn't give up and tried to push me. I tried to, ride with just one leg and try to push it with another leg if I can. And then at some point they pulled my bicycle or they pushed me from behind. So this last 100 kilometers were really, really difficult. And on top of that, with just 26 kilometers to go, I had a puncture in my mountain bike.
Oh, jeez. Right.
uh,
You can't write these scripts, right? Crazy.
yeah, so that was the craziest moment. I mean, we are really on. I mean, one of the guy was literally, calculating that we have this much of kilometer left, this much of time is left, and we have to ride at this much of speed. So at least keeping the buffer, we have to ride at this much of speed. And suddenly I had a puncture. So with all the your hands are also tired at the time, so it is hard to remove the tube and change it. So we did it eventually, but then again it is a mountain bike tire, so you have to fill it really, lot of air in that. And we are
And you will
I
be carrying tiny pumps that
yeah,
will take
we
forever.
are not
Yeah.
having a CO2 cartridges,
Yeah.
and we are wearing a tiny pumps. And I mean, I really feel lucky about this, right? I mean, the guy was passing by and just asked, "What is the issue?" And we said, "We have a puncture here, and we are trying to fill the air." And that guy simply handed over a CO2 cartridge
Oh,
there.
oh, what a godsend.
And yeah, he was angel for me. And we three people haven't even used the CO2 cartridge and how to use it. So that
Yeah.
guy asked it if you know it. We said no, and he filled the air for us. So I mean, he was also kind of in our starting zone, like edge or edge. So he was also in our zone, and he was also almost late to finish. So he,
And
I mean, if
still
yeah,
stopped and helped
yeah,
you.
right, yeah. So if I'm there, and I would even don't even look at that because I have to finish that, right? So that was kind of uh, I was lucky for this finish. We finished it with just I think 36. So yeah, 20 minutes of spare with us. So
Wow. That is some ride. That is some ride.
yeah,
The 2019 PBP was like really interesting, I
yeah,
guess, then
yeah,
for you. And it is crazy, right? The your training partners,
yeah,
they were there when you needed them,
yeah, right,
when you needed them the most.
yeah, exactly,
What, who knows what would have happened if they were
yeah,
not there
yeah,
for you,
yeah,
pulling you, pushing you,
yeah,
or trying to get you through. More than the physical help,
yeah,
the kind of mental fortitude that you would get out of having someone that in that situation is immense, right?
definitely, yeah,
Ma- that is amazing. And then an angel comes out of nowhere and
yeah,
helps you with your flat and
yeah,
sends you across. Amazing, amazing. So yeah, so that was your first PBP,
yeah,
right?
right.
Right. Come and then you come back, and 2020. How was the pandemic? What
what kind of riding did you manage after coming back from PBP?
So after coming back from PBP, I think it was little bit of mild, as obviously, right? We did, I mean, as in life, you also have to do a job, etc., etc. And whatever you're doing for, this goal of PBP, it was kind of stretching from that particular life.
Right,
So I really took kind of a small kind of, light break there. I was still riding there, but then again, it was not that much while we are, training for PBP. But yeah, for pandemic, I think we still kept going. I mean, we three were still riding indoors. We discovered like this Everesting stuff, and then we planned kind of a small event in our Ahmedabad where we got together in one small gym and did this Everesting, in virtual Everesting there. So we tried to keep the momentum, and yeah, so I mean. As in randonneuring, there's two goals like PBP and LEL, right? So LEL was kind of next inside there. We are thinking to do it. So to keep the momentum for that, we try to do this kind of small events or maybe just keep small riding there. Yeah.
right. So LEL happens every 2 years, right?
No, it's also again every 4 years, but yeah,
Oh,
the
right,
calendar year is
right.
different than PBP.
Mm-hmm. Did you pursue that? When did you?
No, actually, so we were having the entry with us. We are
Mhm.
called, I mean, actually, there is a lucky draw in that. So you to, give your, uh, uh, give your name to them and say like, I'm interested. And if they in lucky draw, if you get their name, then you can get a chance. But again, we email them that we have done this PBP and we are, we're really interested in LEL, and in reward, they allowed us as in direct entry. So we are having a direct entry, but at that time, I think we are not, financially not able to pursue that. So at that time, we just passed on that. So that's
Okay.
right.
Which year was this?
So I think it was in 2022, I think. So ideally it was in 21, but then again it
Mhm.
was skipped due to pandemic to 22, I think. Yeah.
Right, right, right. Excellent. So now, in the kind of when you were doing these indoor, Everesting and stuff,
Yeah.
um, how many people were you kind of doing hold up in this gym and pursuing that Everesting?
Yeah, we we tried to pull a lot of people there, but then again, only we ended up only I think five people in gym doing we three, and there were the two people who were we able to trap them. So yeah, only five people were there at the time.
Right. All five of you finish Everesting?
Uh, yeah, so four of us did full Everesting, and one of them just did half Everesting. Yeah.
Right. How long did it take?
It was super long. I think I took 16 hours for full, plus I think I went till 10,000 meters. So yeah,
Wow.
16 hours.
Was it? Were you doing on Zwift or some
Yeah,
other?
on Swift. Yeah,
Right. That
up the
Alp
hills. Yeah,
day Zwift.
yeah.
Wow. That 10,000 on that indoor is crazy.
Yeah.
What were you kind of how did you guys manage to do that in terms of like what were you eating and all that during those 16 hours? How did you manage it?
Yeah, so we had a lot of solid foods there. We are having, we tried to capture one of the hydration partner to give us some, electrolytes and BCAA kind of, powders. So just as in kind of visibility of event, and then they provided us this stuff. And yeah, from our home as well, the family members gave us a lot of food from. there, fruits, etc. I mean, we had a lot of options there,
Right,
as in,
because you are indoors, you are not
yeah,
out in
right, yeah,
some countryside in
yeah,
France or something,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But even the kind of food options at PBP and stuff would be all right, no?
Yeah, I think so. For me personally, I think PBB has a lot of options there. So you
Mm.
don't have to find any food more than
The
100
timing,
kilometers. Yeah,
you, you will have kind of food options that you can get at the timing stations and stuff,
yeah,
right?
right. Yeah.
Right.
So there are
And
checkpoints less than 100 kilometers apart. So it's
mm,
really easy to manage.
you would be able to kind of get food that you want,
Yeah,
and then take rest or
yeah,
refresh
yeah,
and before you go on.
yeah,
Right, right. Okay, so you have had good support for the indoor
yeah,
guess the Everesting, and were able to manage without any issues,
yeah,
right?
right.
Super, super. So you know let us kind of fast what were the major events that happened between then and so, like 2023 when TCR and PBP happened?
Yeah.
What are other significant rides that happened?
So I did couple of 1200 and 1000. I think not couple of, just one 1200 and 1000 kilometer of ride, and they were different in terms of weather and weather conditions and terrain. So I learned a lot of them, a lot of things from that as well, because one of the 1200 kilometers I rode was almost 50% plus rain in the entire ride. So from that I
Where was
learned,
this?
yeah. So it was in, yeah, almost all the rides I did before TCR was in Gujarat itself.
Hmm.
So it was from Surat to Mount Abu. That was 1200 kilometer ride, and I mean a lot of headwinds and a lot of rain in that. So yeah, I mean, I one of my fear was rain, so I tried to overcome in that ride, because before that I didn't have any experience with rain for such a long period of ride. Yeah. So yeah, that was, I think, 1200 was the major ride. Another was the 1000, where we had again from Barora to, I think, Kutch side, right? And that was again in winters, so a lot of low temperatures there, and yeah, so
Especially in the nights it can get
yeah,
really cold, right?
yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you manage in these extreme kind of temperatures? Do you carry layers, or how do you deal with these?
Yeah, I carry layers. I have kind of, now I think with a lot of this kind of rides, I have, set of clothes or set of apparels. I know that with this I can, manage any kind of cold or any kind of rain. Let's say Gore-Tex jacket, right? So that can be used in cold as well. So let's say in this 2023 PBP, there was little bit of cold, and um, I think there was no rain, but there was a little bit of prediction of rain, so I just used that. So in cold as well, I just use it. So that kind of choices I have now, and try to manage it with
Hmm.
that.
Right. So now let us talk about the TCR ride,
Yeah,
right? Transcontinental Race
yeah,
is what it is, right? They're
yeah,
4,000 odd kilometers,
yeah,
right? How did you kind of come about it, and how did you end up, signing up, and
yeah,
what was the journey like to the start line and to the finish line?
yeah. Okay, let me start with how I knew about DCR. So in 2019, while we were finishing PBP, there was also another female who was riding PBP, and her name is Fiona Collinger. So in 2019 itself, she finished this TCR, and she was the first woman to finish the TCR. So in ultra distance cycling, it is very rare to come any woman as a first, right? and the Fiona was one of them, and a lot of buzz was there in ultra cycling community. And with that, I got to know about TCR from there, and uh, at, from that time itself, I really wanted to get to the start line because this is a really different thing. I mean, TCR and such events are really big, and I mean, it's pure self-supported. I'll tell you some of the rules, and I think you'll know about it. So uh, from 2019, once I finished PBP, I mean, it was really first thing I needed was a road bike. In 2019 itself, uh, when I once I finished the PBP, my wife gifted me this Kenyan road bike, and since then I'm riding that. So that was there, but again, to finish or even to get a start line of such event, you need a lot of preparations, a lot of new gears, a lot of, I mean, also it's really expensive to go there ride for such a long time, and I was not prepared at that time. So I just kept passing years, and also pandemic happened, so the event itself was skipped for I think a year or two. And 2020 I felt really confident about that I'm now, capable financially to, go for this event. I can afford the gears. I can physically, I am, at the level that I can compete or even finish first such event. So in 2022 December, I signed up for the event. Now it's not about just signing up. It's again a lucky draw for, so they kind of allow around 300 odd participants, and they got I think 1,000 plus applications there. And
Wow.
in so I was riding this Ultra Spice in January 2023, 1780 kilometers, and just after finishing, I just got the email of confirmation that I got a place in TCR. I mean, it was a mixed feeling there that, oh, I have to go there now and get prepared for that. So I also did this Ultra Spice for that particular, preparation that I had rode just 1,200 kilometers so far. I know what my body and sleep cycle, reacts for such distance. So goal to go for such big event of 1780 was that I got to know that how my body will react it. And I felt really confident after finishing Ultra Spice. Uh, uh, yeah, and so TCR is kind of, it's not kind of event where they give you the route. It's more of they just give you the start point, finish point, and 4 control points. And there are also some mandatory route sections you have to incorporate into your route, and you build your own route out of all these given elements. And that's really, challenging part. It might look very simple in paper or in just saying, but it's really tough because I almost spent 100 plus hours just to build the route itself. So, and in terms of self-supported, you have to make choices if you're riding with sleeping gears, or if you're choosing to stay in hotels, what kind of lighting system you're using. You're using battery operated or you're having a dynamo, and to be honest, I mean, if you want to get a sleeping mat which is really lightweight and you can carry in cycling, it is hard to find in India. So this kind of challenges are challenges I faced really to initially to even get before at the start line of the TCR. Uh, let's say if I were to get a powerful light like lupine or supernova or even the exposure, right? It's not available in India, and even if I ship it from outside, it will cost me like a fortune. I can get a new bike from that particular amount.
Right. Mm.
So yeah, so uh, but I was fortunate that few years back I left my job and starting consulting, like working as a freelancer, and that gave me really a freedom to explore cycling. Because even for TCR you need to spend a lot of time in training, a lot of time going there, go for event. and one of my client was in Germany. So I had planned such that I visit Germany to him first and then go to the event in Belgium. So at that time, the TCR was starting from Belgium. So even for TCR, there is always a different start points and finish points. And so before going to Belgium, I went to Germany, did some shopping, like the new stuff I really wanted to, some BV for the sleeping and all the gears I wanted. So I got that, and that was kind of really changing part of this thing, because if I was not having such gears, so I also planned such a way that if I'm not having this, then I will ride like this. And I can now see that if I was not having such BV or anything emergency stuff, it would be really difficult to ride. Yeah, so this was kind of a preparation. Again, this is a pure self-supported ride, right? You cannot even ride with another participant in that event. You cannot even help a participant in this event. So
Wow.
this is a pure self-support ride, which we really don't have anything here, right? In
Right.
brevets, if you had a puncture, you can stop anyone and ask for a pump, but here you can't. Uh, so and also if you have a mechanical and if there is nothing, you can hitch a ride and go there to some bike shop, but then again you have to ride from there to where you left, not
And start
take a
again
car.
from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because I got a situation such, and talking about the ride or starting, I stayed at one of the hotel called Flanderian Hotel in Gersbergen, Belgium. Which guy was again a cyclist, and he had a
Jamie
collect.
Anderson.
Yeah.
Of course. He's an
Yeah,
awesome bloke. He
yeah.
was on the podcast. We rode together in
Oh,
Tour of Hail Greece.
really?
I
Ha,
know
yeah,
him.
yeah,
He's a
yeah,
really
yeah,
good
yeah,
friend.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You also mentioned about tour of Nectar. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So
he's a
here,
very good friend.
yeah,
Yeah.
that atmosphere really chilled me out there, because there were also the participants there, and he was really friendly, and he also showed us a lot of bike collections. He had bike collection from old Olympic champions and
Oh, he
crazy
is
story.
amazing.
Yeah, crazy
Wow.
stories behind that. So
Yeah.
that really chilled me out, and silent all my nose there. So at start point I was really confident about finishing, really confident about riding the entire distance. So it was really great that I had put a lot of efforts there, and then I was feeling full at the start point. That was, I think, even if I was not finishing, I was satisfied that. uh, but yeah, I mean, the ride just started, and it was there were challenges every day. So if I start with my first challenge, like I had kept emergency food with me, which the goal was to sustain that food till the finish of the ride. So that means that I have executed it perfectly. But at the first night itself, I had planned to refuel myself at the petrol stations in France. But again, I mean, it turned out like all the petrol stations in France are turned, I mean, they are shut at the night. And all my emergency food was finished. I was not able to refill my bottles. With just two bottles, I sustained for 8 hours. It was just for first 8 hours of the race. Uh,
Wow.
and it was the entire night was raining, full of headwinds, and yeah, it really got down the confidence there. But I
Quite
was
a
able,
start.
yeah. It was not just me. I think everyone suffered this, like about the
Yeah.
patrician in France, right? So it was just not me, but yeah, everyone suffered, and
Was
it
it
was.
like, do they not stay open through the night, or was there something that was going on due to which they shut, or how was that?
So I got to know that in some part of the France they just shut down all the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's a different,
Oh.
like in PBP. If I rode around the Paris, then there are a couple of petrol stations. I had experience from that experience. I just assumed that they will be open, but they were not.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
even the experienced
Right.
riders riding in that area for the first time had experienced that they are shut now.
Right. Yeah. Crazy. Hmm. So
Yes.
from, yeah, how did how did you kind of overcome riding 8 hours with two bottles sounds like, a recipe for
Yeah,
disaster, right?
yeah, definitely.
So how did you kind of overcome that and
Yes,
proceed?
so at one of the place, this was bus shelter where I refilled my bottle because the water coming from, the roof. That was just one refill I did, but then I really kept my pace really slow, so I just, need less water in that. And in the morning, I took a little detour from my actual route to get to the town and get the food and water supply. So yeah, so that's kind of, finished there. But that again, the second was also again full of rain in France and headwinds, a lot of things there. Again, even the small town of France, you won't find anything open. So it was like this ghost town and no one stays here. So I had to knock a couple of doors to, get water there. And yeah, so second day also went fine. Third day, uh, this was one incident I think I should mention here. Third day I was in Switzerland, passing through some bike tracks, so bike lanes, right, where just only cycles are allowed. And I was on really the sun was getting up, and I was really in good mood because the entire night was full of cold and rain. So sun was getting up and I was in really good mood and I was riding almost like 30-35 km page. And it was a bike path and it was a 90-degree turn and I was on my aero bar and I thought it could be managed. So I just used my one hand to get on handlebar and I just crashed just because there was some sand over the corner. And
Oh,
I thought everything was fine. I just got up from the crash and checked all of my, belongings, bikes, phone, etc. Everything was fine. And then suddenly I realized that I cannot, lock my jaw. So my jaw was locked. I can put really two fingers in between, and more than that, I cannot close my mouth.
wow.
And I I started getting worried about that, like what exactly happened. And I thought first to get to the doctor, but then I realized that if I go to the doctor, I will just simply waste, a couple of hours sitting there. I mean, I've experienced this in 2019 PBP. So when my knee was hurting, they just in PBP at every control point there is a medical team. You can show them what the issue you have, and they will give you some medication or give you some suggestion. So in 2019, we while this last 100 kilometers, I showed this knee to one of the control point, and they just let me sit down for almost 15-20 minutes and did nothing. So from that incident, I was worried that if I stuck here and they will not allow me to ride, it will be really big or really wrong thing. So I just simply Googled that what is the situation? Why I'm not able to close my mouth? What is the medication I take? So I tried to search this and I found that this situation, your body or your your face muscle reacts because whenever you get through accidents, this happens in car accidents as well. So your body, your this muscle reacts and they will lock down jaw so you don't get damaged further. And it
Right.
can your muscles might get relaxed in maybe in next 24 hours. There is nothing you can do. You can apply ice or anything. And I thought, okay, this is fine. I mean, I was not having a pain, but the only thing is like I will not be able to eat, but then I can drink. So what I did was I just kept eating croissants and Coke. So I ate little bit of croissant by biting and then take a Coke so I can dilute it and just simply. So I spent, I think, that entire day like that. And I think an evening it just relaxed a bit and it was fine. But
Wow. That is crazy.
yeah,
Croissants and Coke.
yeah.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
so this was one of the incidents out there. Then there is this one first Parker. So they call it Parker, which is kind of a mandatory sections or mandatory road. So the first mandatory Parker was 100 kilometers and I think 2500 meters of climbing. There were two major climbs like San Bernardino and Flugen Pass, I think. Yeah, Flugen Pass. So the San Bernardino was like 48 kilometers of climb, and
Wow.
I was just base of that climb. I was riding really smooth. I was again. It was again next morning, so I was in good mood. I was riding well. I just stopped at one of the supermarket, refueled myself, stocked it up because I think in climb it was nothing available. So I was going fine, and suddenly my bike stopped. Sudden, and it turned out that I had a saddlebag, big saddlebag behind at my bike, and I had this reflector tied up with this bungee rope it has, and that bungee rope just came out, and my reflector was in derailleur. So it
Oof.
just stuck in derailleur, and my bike stopped. I almost crashed, but there was no injury. It was kind of slow motion, crash. So I got off the bike and tried to remove the jacket. I removed it and then realized, okay, derailleur is bent totally. It was almost touching the spoke, and in such scenarios, ideally the derailleur hanger breaks, but this was kind of stronger. So there is a small piece between derailleur hanger and derailleur, which is uh, as almost size of hanger, and it bent out. So I tried to first try to remove the tubular and that small part and tried to, make it straight, but it was like impossible to do it with just, like hammering with stone or anything. Then I cried a lot there, sitting on the side of the road. I had pictures of that. I mean, the riders were passing. It was just initial, part of the race. So riders were passing from that route. That is the mandatory route. So everyone has to go from there. And they were clicking pictures of me because they were posting on social media that this guy is, yeah, fuck up. Yeah. And, uh, so I thought it very carefully there, like what can I do? I tried to find the bike shops. The one bike shop was like 100 kilometer away from there, which was again like 100 kilometer of entire parkour. So if I go there, then I have to ride the entire 100 kilometer back, which is not just 100 kilometers, it's like 2500 of meter of climbing. So, and then
Right.
again the quit. So it was really tough thing. The other side was again the same. So then I thought for a while, and then I made it a single speed. So I broke the chain, removed the derailleur from the bike, and make it a simple single speed bike, and tried to climb the entire, that stretch. Uh, yeah, I mean, it was fine. I mean, because I, cut the chain accordingly that it can stay in second last gear. But again, if the climbing was fine, but if I get a flat section, then I cannot hard
You
even
will
with
be
the
spinning out. Yeah.
yeah, with the 100 cadence, I can hardly go about 12. So
Right.
it was difficult time. But again, the story starts now actually. I finished that 100 kilometers, and I, you know, that that was kind of small Italian town there, and I was looking for food there. So my plan was that I will stay here for night. There was a bike shop just around the corner. If it opens at 10 in the morning, I'll go to them, try to find if they can have a similar derailleur or whatever fits there, and keep on riding. So I was trying to food there first, and I went to bar at the one of the circle, and tried to talk to one of the person there if I can get the pizza there. Um, and that guy said, "Not here. The bar is closing. You can go, around the corner. There's another restaurant. You will find it." So he had seen a lot of riders passing there because it was kind of common route, and he was kind of asking me like if there is this event or anything going on, and what are you doing? From where are you riding? So I told him everything of like this TCR, we are riders, and this kind of mandatory section. We have to go from here, and we'll go till Thessaloniki, Greece, and and then said like, oh, you are doing great and everything. And then I also asked him like about the bike shop and said what's the issue, and he said like, okay, let's fix this. And he turned out to be a bike mechanic there, and
Wow.
so yeah, so I would definitely say that I'm a lucky person there in a lot of scenarios here. But
Right,
that turned out to be a bike mechanic there. Uh, I had also photos of him. I'll share it with you. Uh, that piece of the derailleur, I don't think so any of the, if you go into bike shop, if it really needs the Indian jugaad there to fix it,
right.
and that guy
Yeah.
really did that. He kind of used the fire and small hammer, and he straightened that part, and
Wow.
things were fixed. So again,
Crazy.
this was an angel for me. And yeah, I mean, definitely, if I go to the bike shop, I would hardly think I would have gotten the same derailleur which I was having, or any of this part,
Right.
because it was
Yeah.
really small down there.
All these small parts are really difficult to find,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
All these like different standard
yeah,
derailleurs and
yeah.
hangers and all that. Yeah.
So,
Crazy.
so yeah, I was super disappointed when everything, broke, like that reflector went into my derailleur, and then the story, it it really encouraged me to keep going. So
Hmm.
again, the same, and the morning I was in good mood and kept riding, and terrain there was beautiful. So uh, the route was like you keep jumping from Switzerland, Italy. So and terrain and all, definitely climbs are really hard, long, long climbs, but it's worth riding out there. I mean, who loves cycling will definitely, even
Yeah. I
with this
mean,
brutal race, it will be beautiful to ride there.
yeah, those the Alps and the
Yeah,
Pyrenees and all
yeah,
these like amazingly
yeah,
scenic,
yeah,
they're like heaven on earth,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
So scenic, and it's
Yeah,
like the right, I mean, the riding conditions and the way they respect the
yeah,
riders also,
no,
right? The way the vehicles also give you space and
yeah,
everything is, it's another world,
yeah.
when you compare it from.
In Slovenia, I passed through kind of a big section, like I think it was 40 or 50 odd kilometers where no cars are allowed. So
Hmm.
only cyclists, or you can walk there, something like that. So all that, the entire area was full of with, a lot of cyclists, a lot of families who come, with all the bikes there and stay there. So it was, yeah, amazing.
Amazing, amazing. So how long did it take for you to finish that race?
I took 14 hours and 10 days. Sorry, 14 days and 10
14 days.
hours. Yeah, 14 days
Wow.
and 10 hours. But yeah, I think I had a lot of issues again in a later stage of race. The new knee issue I also started again here in TCR. So once I was in Slovenia after CP2 and Parker 2, my knee started hurting, and the same time it was a night time, and my knee started hurting, so I was really slowing down, and I was just checking my knee, that what's happening there, right? If it is a clit just changed, or what the position is there, and the pavement started on the right hand side, and I just crashed over there. So my another knee was kind of hurt with that, so that really fell in really bad situation there, and I had to really slow down. Well, so from starting, I was kind of, my first day was 400 kilometers, second was I think 300, 350 kilometers. I was really doing good, but then again, I have to, in between, I have to take like maybe 150 kilometers a day or something. So that really ruined, my timing over there. But I think, yeah, the pain and all the thing I gone through, it was really worth the timing. That I that finished was surprise for me, because at between where in Croatia, I really felt like giving up. So in Croatia, there was one incident where so what I started doing was like I started to get into hotels at around 10 or something, and started to get out at 3 or 4 in the morning so I can, you know, give a rest to my body and this knee issues. And in Croatia, once I started in one of the morning, and suddenly my knee get locked. I was not even able to move it, and I crashed in one of the bridges there. Like I just simply stopped it and fell down. And I was not my another leg, which was inside of the bike. I wasn't able to until it, and I was just lying on the road crying there because I was not able to do nothing. And one of the truck driver came, rescued me from there, and it was kind of, mentally really, really bad situation there that I want to ride. I have really confidence about, all the preparations and everything. But then my body is not kind of giving me opportunity to do, but I pushed it really hard there. I mean, I think that was the hardest stuff I really gone through in that TCR. So yeah, that I with a knee pain from I think half of the ride, I think seventh or eighth day I was constantly in knee pain, and I kind of half of the ride went through that.
Wow. So the last 7 8 days you
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
see if 6 days, more than 6 days, you
yeah.
kind of rode with that knee pain.
Yeah. So initially it was really worse, but then I again contacted, physio here and, asked what I can do. She gave me exercises. I started doing this exercise like half an hour or 1 hour of ride and then stop somewhere, do some this stretching and all the exercises, and it improved a bit. I mean, the pain was getting less, but then again it was there. But yeah, I kept going.
Mm. Man, that is some some resilience to kind of keep going in such situation, right?
Yeah,
uh, but you completed this crazy 4,000 odd kilometers in 14 days, 10 hours,
yeah.
despite all these setbacks, right? And then you decide to follow it up with PBP. How I mean, what was the kind of a gap between these two events?
Uh, I think it was almost like 2 to 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks,
Right.
I think. Yeah.
Right. And did you kind of stay there in Europe, or you came back and went back, or how is that?
No, the plan was to ideally. So PBP was kind of a backup event. I am really bad at
Mhm.
handling, setbacks.
Mm.
I'm really, really, really bad at handling setbacks. I mean, the VI is still hurting me right now. But so the PBP was kind of a backup event. Like if I fail somewhere at TCR, I'll just recover it and go for PBP and give my everything. And it was not even decided to ride PBP the 2 days before PBP because my knee was not fine. And the plan in between was to have some vacation time with my wife. So my wife came to finish point of TCR. We did some road trips in Italy and Dolomites, etc. So yeah, it was kind of a vacation in Europe for a couple of days there. Then we went to Paris from there.
Nice. And then, you still started, you still were having this knee pain,
Yeah.
right? What kind of made you to say, okay, maybe it would be fine to it would be a good idea to do a 1,200 kilometer uh, uh, ride like PBP after going through so much pain to finish the TCR, right? What was the thinking behind that? What made you
Uh,
do it?
yeah. So knee pain was kind of, in terms of knee pain, it was improving a bit. I was having knee pain in some particular situations only, right? And I took decision to ride after thinking a lot, even, and to riding a PBP this time, like I had done this in past, so it was
Mm.
not like tick mark or something. If I had to do it, I have to do it with some good timing, etc. That was the goal, and the only question was if I would be able to do it in good time or not. So I got in call with Viraj and Prerak, and we kind of chalked down the entire plan on Excel sheet, right? Like this is the timing, this is the speed if you can maintain, this is the time, this is the break you can take, and this much hours. So we came up with the 62 hours of plan. So there was my goal was to break this Indian PBP record, which was from the Samim Rizvi of I think 64 hours or something. So my plan was to do it in 62 hours. So my Excel sheet plan was to do it in 62 hours finish. And if that is only possible, then only I'll try it. That was the decision. So
Mm.
I talked with my wife, my this friends, cycling friends, and thought that okay, let's give it a chance because I think I can ride fast. Only thing is about this knee, and I think it's manageable right now. So that was everything I took in consideration.
Right. So good. So how did the ride itself go? Did you manage to finish it in the time that you wanted?
Yeah, I think it was much better than 62. So I finished
Mm-hmm.
it in 59 hours. Uh, right. So definitely more better than what I have planned, enough, right? Yeah, and it went really good. But I would say that I didn't enjoy it as much as I did in 2019 because in 2019 I think I enjoyed a lot uh, with the company of a lot of riders in. But this year in 2023 it was like a lot of lonely stretches because I was ahead of a lot of people there, and there were a lot of stretches. The PPP is like a big event, like 6,000 people, and this time they did a they changed the route such a way that there's the going and incoming route is different. So you won't find people who are really going towards the breast at one side when you're coming back. So while I was coming back, I'll find a lot of stretches alone in night. I almost rode alone, right? So it was a bit lonely, but then I was on a mission for some timings at that. So yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Did you manage to find some groups that you could ride with, or did you end up riding mostly alone?
So I had one really bad experience in PBP this year. So, I mean, there is a bit of racism somewhere. I was trying to, catch up with this Belgium group there, and I was doing my work as well in front and in peloton. But then they were really angry at me, and they said some words which are really racist. So it really kind of mentally shocked me a bit. Then I
Hmm.
just kept riding alone from there. So it was just 200 kilometers initially where I rode in groups, but then I was all alone for the rest of the ride.
Wow, wow. Yeah, I mean, like cyclists in general, we tend to,
Yeah,
find very nice people, but then there will be
yeah,
like some
yeah,
odd people here and there, which kind of, give shockers like that, I guess.
yeah.
That, yeah, that's sad. But is it the best time by an Indian so far, even
No,
now?
not really. So
Mm.
last year itself, there were faster peoples like Sanjeev Sharma, I think Rohan Sharma, all these Delhi people are faster than me. Even the
Mm.
John from Delhi. So all this, I think
Mm.
mine was fourth or fifth fastest timing. So
Sanjeev is the
yeah, Sanjeev
fastest,
is
I
the
think.
fastest at the moment, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We spoke about that
Yeah,
when he was on the podcast.
yeah,
Amazing, right? So you done this TCR, PVP back to back,
yeah,
and now you recently went to this Via race,
yeah.
right? What was this race about? How did you kind of get to know about this, sign up for it, and what happened there? Um, I understand that you kind of your health was in a bad state and you couldn't complete the race. So what
Yeah,
happened there? Yeah.
yeah, right. So this is again the same kind of format as an TCR,
Hmm.
but there are no mandatory, routes in between. There is just one very small route. So, and there are no cutoffs for any checkpoints in this race. So that's one kind of a differentiation factor between TCR and VIA. Uh, so the VIA people is started by people who really are not aligned with the goal of TCR. I mean, there are some rules in TCR, some decisions in TCR taken which are not favorable to the community, and these people started to align or give chance to community a um, fair opportunity. And yeah, so I heard
I'm
of
just curious, what are those?
so in TCR, there are kind of, they say, so Mike Hall was the founder of TCR, who
Hmm.
is no more with us right now. But when he started TCR, he said like we'll not have kind of 100 rules for the event. We'll have kind of just set of 10 rules, and those 10 rules are a little bit uh, you know very with a wide kind of spectrum. Let's say it says you have to ride with fair opportunity, etc. And there was incident in 2023 TCR where one of the rider who came third was kicked out of general classification because he rode with someone else for significant of time. Now, significant of time is not defined by any rule,
Right.
and it is kind of it. So I mean, there is always a two side of coin, right? And this is my event. This is my decision to take what I should do. So that kind of sentiment is hurt by a couple of peoples, and that's the reason this kind of race is started.
Mm. Okay.
And yeah, so this kind of general idea. So I signed up for that because they were having a story in the race. Uh, Again, the TCR 10 was launched. The route details like checkpoints, etc. It was a little bit of new, but again, it was starting from top of the Europe and going down there again in Balkans. This was little bit of different, starting from Spain and going through Pyrenees and then in Italy. A little bit of different terrain. I really wanted to explore the Spain, how the cycling is there, and Pyrenees is one of the factor I really wanted to visit there, right there. So that was the main reason to sign up for VIA. Uh, yeah, so again, I would say that I had a lot of personal issues going on during the entire year. Some health issues. My grandfather had an accident, and we had to hospitalize him, and a lot of things were going on personal side. I was not able to prepare a lot about VIA the way I did for TCR, but I still think that I was in good shape to ride that event. I was not, it was not like I was not prepared for that, but I was not prepared as much as I really wanted to at that time. Because I always think that if you are at one level, then if you have to push yourself to the another level and, improve yourself. It's not, I feel it's not about like, going on top, but at least, going on top of your own self somewhere. Uh, yeah, so at start line, I was feeling good, enough uh, again, confident enough to finish the event and confident enough to ride the entire distance. No doubts, anything or any issues with my setup. Even my setup was more tuned in terms of, the way I was in TCR because from TCR I learned a lot and I improved it in this time. Uh, um, so improvement, if I say one improvement, it was sleeping system. So last year in TCR, I used a lot of hotels, like 50% hotels and 50% outside sleeping. This year my plan was to just like use 1 or 2 nights in hotel just for cleanup, and that's it. And sleep outside, so I can save as much as time I can. Uh, yeah, so I started the race. It was super hot. I mean, the day when I started, it was the hottest summer day in Spain. So
Ah,
it was like 36, 38 degrees in the 10 a.m. in the morning. So, and in Spain, it's like a little bit different. Even if you say jungle, it's a small trees. You cannot really, stand below it and get a shed there. So
hmm,
a lot of flat, uh, not the flat, but a lot of grounds there, a lot of small trees, but it will be a lot of hot there. So by afternoon, we are really, I mean, not just me, everyone was struggling out there.
right.
So so heat was one of the factor which really got me. I was confident that I can, go through this heat, and but my stomach started aching in I think 4 or 5 hours of the race itself. And at that time, I think I thought like it is a heat which is messing up with me. But then, like after scratching a couple of days, I realized that it could be some food poisoning or something which caused this issue because after scratching and after kind of 3 4 days I went to one of the checkpoints of the race, and there was a route which was really beautiful. I really wanted to ride that. I did kind of 150 kilometers with kind of 3,000 meter of elevation ride, which was again that much of hot, but I was really fine with that, right? So I think it was kind of food poisoning or something which really caused issue along with the heat. And
Right.
At the first day, I did just 300 kilometers, which was again, it's okay with this heat and issues. I tried to take a break at the night. I was not feeling sleepy because I think sleep is one of my strongest, point there because in 2023 PBP also I just slept for I think 1 hour and 10 minutes or so only for entire 60 hours. And so my plan was to ride for entire 2 days, just take a power nap or something. But I took 3 hours of sleep just because with wide my eyes open because I was not able to sleep and take a rest to recover from this issue. Um I started again riding again at the night. I rode for entire night, but then I was not kind of recovering from that pain. At the night time also there was no heat, but my pain was not reducing at all. The second day also, I just rode around 80 kilometers or something and get into hotel to give the last chance that I rest for, more than 12 hours and see if it gets recovered, right? I slept for that again in the morning. It was same level of pain in my stomach. And the only reason of not riding with pain was like I was not able to eat anything. So after
Hmm,
just 5 hours, I was not able to eat solid foods, only like gulping out a lot of cokes so that I can get the energy to ride at least, right?
right.
So that was the one of the major issue which really stopped me riding. And on third day, again, after 12 hours of break, I started riding. I went to Madrid, right, and which was major city there, and I sat there for I think 2 hours or something. I really thought about that, like what should I do now because this is not working out. I mean, I can feel I was drained a lot because
Hmm,
I have ridden a lot of kilometers, like almost 450 or something, and I have eaten a very less food. So energy was, my energy was coming from my fat.
right.
So I was really feeling drained, and yeah, so that was one point. Then I took one of the short climb in Madrid, and
Hmm,
uh, thought like if I make out of this climb without any issues, I'll just go for it. It's fine if I have a pain. I'll keep going till whatever I can. But then I have to also listen to the body. And after finishing
right.
that climb, I was really breathless and
Hmm,
feeling literally drained. It was just like 500 meters of climb. And then I thought like just it's fine to you know uh, scratch from this race rather than
right.
suffering more because after Madrid it was really tough to even scratch. Even in the
Mm.
Madrid itself, scratching is really hard. I mean, from for this big event, scratching is really hard. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You would have like planned so much,
yeah,
prepared so much, and getting to a start line of such events itself is a big deal.
yeah,
And once get going, having to taking the decision to say stop, I cannot do it,
yeah,
is a really really hard decision, but you kind of have to think long term and say, you got have to assess and say, okay, we have to take care of the body as well. You have to listen
yeah,
to the body when it has been on your side for so long, for so many events. For one time it kind of had to uh, maybe food poisoning, or it may be the heat stroke or whatever. It refused to cooperate with you, and you have
yeah,
to listen to it, right?
yeah,
For
exactly.
the long term. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really tough thing, but I'm sure this you will get back to it and finish the unfinished business, I am sure.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah, yeah. So uh, let's talk about the uh, brevet scene or the ultra riding scene in India, right?
Yeah.
From when you started to now, what are the changes that you see in the Indian long distance community?
Uh, Community, I think it's definitely region wise. So where I started from Ahmedabad, right? So right now, when I started, it was a really big community there. Now it's really small there because a lot of old peoples are kind of, who used to ride with me are no longer in previous. They just maybe ride for leisure purpose of 50 or maybe weekend 100 kilometers, that's it, and stop doing previous. And but if you see in Bangalore, it's kind of huge, right? And yeah, I mean, a lot of new peoples are coming. There are so small bunch of significant peoples who are still going on with their records, that maximum 1,000 or maximum 1,200 or maximum SRs. I mean, those people are still there. Yeah, but but yeah, not that. So I really miss the vibe back when I started, where really ride for joy or anything. And I miss that, I think. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, I mean there are I think with regions and with
yeah,
people, there, I think we go through cycles of that,
yeah.
right? Uh, Even I've been in cycling. I mean, not ultra cycling or long distance cycling, but I've been in cycling for what 16 years now.
Wow.
But I have seen new people enter, but the old, there are a few people that are there still,
Yeah,
but their goals and their aspirations kind of change,
yeah,
because all of us go through life, various
yeah,
phases of life. The motivations and the aspirations differ. So some people who would have been like really hot in racing and all that would now kind of go into a leisure mode and
yeah,
there. But new people, lot
yeah,
many new people would come, and
yeah,
they would be in that phase of like going
yeah,
through that. So I
yeah,
think it is same everywhere, in
yeah,
even with that. Like there will be cycles, there will be waves
yeah,
of old and new. The even with ourselves, right? We go through phases with our
yeah,
motivations and aspirations
yeah,
as
right.
well. So that's the part of normal life, I would think.
Yeah,
Excellent. But like you said, yeah, from, although I'm not part of it taking part in, but I have friends who have been riding the longer distances and stuff,
Yeah.
that I see, and like it is very heartening to see the number of people doing brevets,
Yeah.
number of people who are showing up for rides like 1,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
Bliss in
Definitely.
the Hills kind of rides also, they have like more than 100 people
Yeah.
at the start line of
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
event. Is really unimaginable when
Yeah.
it
Definitely.
started. I think, if 2 3 people start, and even if one person finishes, it's like
Hmm.
a big thing.
Yeah.
Now, if I think
Yeah.
even when it started, it would like 10 or 10 people or something like that would start,
Hmm.
and then maybe one would finish, or two
Yeah.
people would finish like that. Now 100 people, more than 100
Yeah.
people start that such a challenging ride, and many people tend to finish
Yeah.
it, which is actually a testament to the kind of work also uh, being put in the people who are conducting these, and trying to make these things happen. um, Amazing. So what next for you in terms of any events coming up? What are you looking forward to?
Uh, yeah, again, I have this Himalayan Ultra coming up next week, next month. Not next month, I think this month, end of next this month. So yeah, that is one of the event I was looking forward to ride in Himalayas in Leh. I had really kind of since I started cycling, I really wanted to ride in that region. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
what a
my
majestic setting.
yeah, my most of the goals are aligned to riding in different parts of world, so I can experience cycling there. Not kind of competitive side more, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's the best way to experience a region, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, excellent, excellent. I'm sure you will do well at the Himalayan Ultra as well. All the best,
yeah.
and
Thank
all
you.
the best for all your future events as well.
Thank you.
So thank you, Kishan, for it's been a pleasure. Thank you for
Uh,
taking the time and sharing your experience with the Working Athlete podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
That was my conversation with Kishan. I hope you enjoyed that. If you are enjoying these podcasts and are finding them useful, please consider supporting the podcast by subscribing to it on YouTube as well as on your favorite podcasting app. It really helps. Thanks again for your continuous support. See you next week with another guest.